Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our Only Murders in the Building Season 2, Episode 4 review. There's clearly a lot that we got to talk about in here. Like, a lot.
Revenge for Bunny.
Yes.
I went to Vegas this weekend.
Yeah.
I saw this tie-dye hoodie. I couldn't not get it. I got some pictures up on Instagram of all the adventures that went on there at Matt and Jess TV if you want to follow us over there. But this hoodie, I saw it in the shop and I was like, ooh, it's so Only Murder. So here we are.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. It's comfy. It's for Bunny.
Yes. You got to pay homage to your favorite bun in the world of this show. We still miss Bunny. I loved that Bunny episode so much.
Oh, so good.
This episode, we're really transitioning over to the Big Lucy episode. We have a lot to talk about with her, what she saw, what it all means. Of course, though, we have a lot of Only Murders in the Building videos coming up. We have these weekly reviews. We also are doing Only Theories in the Building throughout the season if you want an extra dose of mystery and conversation there. So hit that subscribe button. That is the best way to make sure you don't miss any of this coverage that we have coming up throughout the rest of the season. And we hope you guys are with us every step of the way.
All right, so let's start quickly with Emmy nominations. They dropped today, and we saw that Steve Martin and Martin Short both got Emmy nominations.
Selena Gomez. Okay, listen. I understand she's a producer, so I understand, the show got nominated, so if that wins, Selena, gets an Emmy for that. But as an actress, what is wrong with the Emmys here? Okay, here is my theory about this. We have a lot of theories about the mystery of this show. There is an anti-pop star bias at the Emmys. Right. So here's the thing.
Listen, Selena Gomez should have been nominated for an Emmy for this role. I haven't seen her acting in anything else. I love her music. This is my first time I've ever seen her. And she is in perfect step with two comedy giant icons. She is so deserving of this Emmy nomination. When I heard that she got snubbed, I was just like, no.
Like the real, I kind of joke about the pop star bias, but I do also kind of feel like there is a thing where people who have been in TV a lot, like are just known for TV, often get a little bit of the love first. And I think just because she's on with Steve Martin and Martin Short that they're commanding more of the attention. I'm not happy about it. We'll move on. Selena better get her due for season 2, especially this episode, her and Lucy, where Lucy is like reminding her of, oh, I'm not really a part of the hip generation like I thought I was.
Oh, she was so good in this episode. I completely understood where Charles was coming from, where Lucy showed up and was basically talking another language to him and he could not understand. I was like, oh man, I'm there with you. I do not understand what is going on.
Even Mabel is more hip than me. I have never said the words hot goss once in my entire life until this very second.
I'm going to say seeing Lucy in this episode was really cool. This was a story that was touched on very little in season 1. We know that Charles was in a relationship with Lucy's mom. Him and Lucy had this really special relationship, and then they broke up, and then Lucy, of course, didn't get to have this relationship anymore. And I think that this story, which is a story that is not told very often on TV at all, sort of from the perspective of the kid that had this connection with like a mom's boyfriend or a dad's girlfriend or something like that. We never really see this story play out. It really touched me because I actually had this experience twice. My dad kind of pieced out when I was really young, and my mom had this first boyfriend named Paul when I was, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kind of thing. And he was really influential, and it was really cool that later on in life, it was actually maybe like 5 years ago, I saw him at an event and I was able to be like, hey, you really influenced my life in all the right ways. Like, thank you. And then when I was 14, she was with another man named John who taught me how to drive, who got me my first job. Like, I think that it's just this situation would really touch a lot of people. And I'm really glad that the show tackled it.
I think they played it really, really well, too, where there was all these sort of emotions behind it, where Lucy, I think, had this part of her that was like, why didn't you reach out? And, Charles was trying to do, what her mom said, no contact and all of that sort of thing. But, when you're Lucy, there's a little bit of this heartbreak in there, but there's also this happiness that you've reconnected with this person. You're getting to spend time with them. And the really fun thing about Lucy is like she's not just coming onto the show as sort of this personal connection to Charles's past. Like every other person on the show this season, seemingly, she has a little bit of a role to play in the bunny mystery as well.
There was a moment. Okay, so she discovered or let them know, the trio know, that there is a secret passageway in the bathroom that connects to Charles's place. So they were kind of like, how is all this evidence showing up? She pulls out this knife. It's covered in blood. How is this here? And she's like, this is how they're getting in and out of your apartment, Charles. Like they're using this secret passageway. There was a moment when they were walking through it and they went to go turn to the left. And she was like, no, there's nothing down there. It's a dead end. I was like, uh-oh. Does she know something? Like, why is she stopping them from going down there? And it didn't really play out to be anything, but there was a moment that I was like, no, they cannot be going in this direction, that Lucy has something to do with this. For why?
Man, that would be dark. That'd be so dark.
Really dark.
But I think it's understandable to wonder these things, because I think one of the things that Only Murders is showing us really throughout this season, especially, is that they don't give you all the information right away. Like, I'm not saying they're unreliable narrators, but it is a sort of spot where, we saw Charles and Mabel and Oliver celebrate, the end of the case of Tim Kono in season 1, but there were all these little moments that we didn't see that we're kind of finding out about this time around. So there is this possibility of all these characters we're meeting that they have more to play and have more to offer than we're even seeing. Like Charles even recognized that when he was, sending off Lucy at the end of the episode, and he's just like, this is the second time I feel like I'm sending someone off who knows more than I do.
Yeah, and I will say this. I found it a little strange that Lucy didn't tell him, by the way, I was in this secret passageway when the murderer came through. And, she didn't see that person, so there might not be more information to give, like that it is very seemingly a man, that this person had a cough, which I think is going to come into play later on. And, at the very least, she heard the cough and she was in that passageway, so she could have at least let them know, hey, by the way, this person does have access to your apartment, because it felt very much like she knows he's in danger. She was there when she pulled out the knife and was like, why, do you not clean your knives? Oh my God, it's the murder weapon. She knows that this person has access to Charles's apartment, who she cares about deeply. I was very surprised with the writing of this episode that she wasn't like, listen, I was there the night Bunny got murdered, and I know you didn't want me to be, but like, okay, here we are. You didn't want me to come here now either, but here I am. So I'm just going to give you this little bit of information.
Yeah, I've been trying to think a lot about, okay, why wouldn't she just say all this? And I mean, I came to this idea of, is she just afraid that she's going to make Charles feel guilty? Because, Charles sort of said, tonight's not a great night. And at the time Lucy saw him, he was just with Mabel. Didn't look like it was anything that dire at that given point. And maybe she didn't want him to feel guilty or bad or whatever else. But I think at a certain point in time, like the severity of the situation at present should supersede that a little bit. I mean, I know she's young. Maybe she's just not thinking rationally in the same way that people would older. Like, I agree with you, though. I do think it's really weird. I'm just sitting here trying to, rationalize the decision.
Yeah, I mean, that it could be it, but I would think that with how much she cares about him, I mean, we had that really heartfelt scene near to the end where they were sort of talking. She was saying, how much he influenced her life and how important he was, and that she had a really hard time sort of letting go of that love and that care, that for her to not be like, by the way, I know that somebody is trying to frame you and possibly kill you. I have to share this information with you because I don't want you to die.
It's a pretty serious thing that's going on here. Like, I think any information she has is beneficial. So, what do we know with all of this? You mentioned the cough. You mentioned that clearly, this is a man's voice. The body type of whoever this person was. It looked like a man. Yeah, sure, they could have been wearing baggy clothes or anything else to sort of mask their appearance. But beyond all that, this person, whoever they are, whatever their exact role is in Bunny's murder, whether it's planning it, executing it, whatever else, you have to be, I would assume, you don't have to be a super athlete to navigate through these catacombs or whatever, but you have to at least be able to make a fairly quick escape, and you have to be able to know, this is obviously the very important part, that these catacombs exist, because Charles has lived in this building forever, and he had no clue.
Yeah, it has to be somebody with intimate knowledge of this building, which would lead a lot of people to think that it's Nina. Nina would know about these catacombs, all these different passages, whatever. She was very close to Bunny, but it's not her. I mean, there was some theories going around that maybe Nina wasn't even pregnant and that this was something that she was sort of using as some sort of disguise. She's very pregnant. We saw that in this episode when her water broke and she went into labor. And we saw the person in the passageway and they were not pregnant. It's not her. However, we did see her with a man, and is this a person who is the father of her child? Maybe not. Maybe a lover. Maybe somebody that's wanting to help put this I don't know, spaceship blimp on top of the Arconia. Whatever the relationship is, he's a suspect.
Yeah, that guy is a very big suspect at this point because we don't know everything that Nina told him. They just may have had casual conversations and she may have talked a lot about, some of the secrets of this building. And if they are planning to redesign things and put whatever the spaceship thing at the top of it is or whatever, maybe she needed to go over the architecture of all of this. Yes. And this guy, he seems to be very much a businessman, and maybe, I don't know why I said that like that, but anyway, as a businessman, he is very concerned with what's going to make him the most amount of money. He has a credible motive for getting rid of Bunny. He doesn't seemingly have an emotional attachment to Bunny quite like Nina does, so he may have wanted to move things along pretty fast, especially if he heard that she had second thoughts.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a little bit of conversation there that felt like Nina might know more than she was letting on. I mean, later she was like, make sure you find the killer of Bunny. She would have really wanted to be here for this baby. I miss her. I wish she was here, and having some sort of regrets. But there was conversation there with this man where she was kind of like, did we do the right thing with Bunny? And I'm kind of like, well, what is that? Is that then that Nina told this guy to go take care of the situation with Bunny and he ended up killing her and she's having regret? Or was there a different situation that will pop up a little bit later, like maybe she called a board meeting against Bunny to vote her out? Because they did kind of mention a little bit that there was going to be a meeting coming up that day.
I think at the very least, I wouldn't be surprised if, this guy was with her orchestrating this entire plan where, Nina was meeting up with Bunny and having all these conversations and duping her. And I kind of wonder if Nina kind of went into this thinking this is purely a part of the business transaction that we're trying to kind of make happen. But maybe Bunny's kind soul, I say that slightly sarcastically, but maybe
she does have a kind
she's
soul.
Also cruel at times, but maybe Bunny's soul did win her over, and then she started to feel bad that she was duping her because Bunny is such a fascinating person who does love people in the end, and maybe that's a little bit of what happened.
Justice for Bunny. She got a kind soul. she just also has a sharp tongue.
Yeah,
it's a little a column A, a little a column B.
Yeah. Okay, so we have all of that's going on here, and we have an introduction or reintroduction, I should say, of Teddy within this episode, but it seems as though Teddy has been away for a while, and he's got an ankle bracelet on, and I think at this point, Teddy didn't kill Bunny. I think we can say that.
That threat to all of her at the end of that elevator ride. Woof. Wow. That was something else. Oh my goodness. I was like, he really is. If he isn't the killer this season, which I don't think he is, I could see him maybe being responsible for whatever ends up happening at the end of this season moving into next. Because obviously it's got to either wrap up or, maybe this will go into another season. I figure they're probably having it that a murder will get wrapped up each season.
Yeah.
I could see Teddy having some sort of actual vengeance or attempted murder, maybe. I mean, his whole life is just ruined. Watching that interaction with Theo and how broken he was and Oliver spying on it. It was so hard to watch, man.
It was really, really difficult. And I think this is another part of what makes this season interesting. And I could even see there being a polarizing opinion about, okay, are there too many guest stars? Because there's like so many people who are just kind of coming in and out. But it's like, I love Nathan Lane. I also feel like Nathan Lane basically came in and scored like 50 points in like 5 minutes because he had like that awesome scene with Oliver. Then he has this completely other awesome scene with Theo where he's just so emotional and just like so unbelievably just broken by everything that's happened. This is a guy who is on the brink, and even if he doesn't kill anybody, he could still find another way to ruin the trio. Like, that is easily still possible.
I think Teddy and Theo needed to come back. I think there needed to be a little wrap up on sort of what ended up happening to them, what happened to their relationship, how it's affected their lives in the way that it has. And I'm glad that they came back. It's just, we do have some guest appearances. We have the Alice story that's going on that's kind of gone nowhere. I know that they'll be bringing it back, but it just isn't really a major part of the season. Everything with Amy Schumer, that's just like, And I'm not unhappy about it. You guys know that she's not my favorite. She's not my cup of tea. I know some people like her, some people don't. Not really for me. Doesn't really fit in with this season. Doesn't really have any real purpose going on. So I'm not that upset that she's not around. But at the same time, it's kind of like, she might as well have not been in the season. I said it.
Yeah, unless she comes back and has like a meaningful role in the mystery, it is like a real, what's the point here? Like, I would rather spend time with other people. Like, Howard, like, our guy Howard shows up for just like,
He's your guy, Howard.
I love Howard. Howard is incredible. Howard comes in and like does his whole spiel with the knife like hanging in the ceiling. Like, I don't want Howard to be involved in anything else. Like, it is possible he knows more than he's letting on, and we know the person in the catacombs was a guy, and he does know a lot about the building. It's just, he's so paranoid and tightly wound, and I still don't think he is capable of like murdering Bunny.
It's possible if he really felt threatened by Nina. Like, if he came in and he was like, listen, I lied to you guys about what happened to my eye. Nina punched me in the eye. She, threatened me, was, being really, aggressive towards me. It's possible that Howard just felt really scared, where he was just like, listen, if I don't do something and get Bunny out of this picture, like, Nina's going to have a really hard time on me, and I need my life to kind of get settled down. So I'm just going to go over and try to have a talk with Bunny, and it didn't go well, and it turned into that.
This is the only thing I'm a little bit sketch about with my guy Howard here.
It's just, he has shown up there a couple times to be like, here, let me help you, kind of divert you into other directions. It's just, I don't know.
I don't know if Nina punched him. Like, that's the thing that I'm kind of just like a little bit suspicious about. And it's not
the double lie.
It
was
be
the cat. It was Nina. It's no one. He punched himself.
No, I kind of wonder, like, is this something that he's just either embarrassed about? Like, I'm not bringing up Leonora just for that, but like, did Leonora punch him in the face and he's just like embarrassed that it happened, or somebody else, or he's just trying to cover for someone? It's just like, I think there's more going on with Howard than meets the eye, but he strikes me a lot as the guy who's like trying to cover up something that he doesn't want people to know, but really just because it's embarrassing, as opposed to like he is actually the murderer.
Howard knows some stuff. And it's also really interesting because one of you in the comments mentioned this to me, Sherry. Thank you for mentioning this. That at the end of every episode, they'll have 2 panels of the artwork from Mabel that will kind of give little bits of clues to either what happened in that episode or sort of what's coming up in an episode.
Yeah.
There hasn't been really that much of Howard, really, but we've seen the gut milk lady in there, and we are going to be talking a little bit about that and what her role could be in this whole murder, because I am suspicious. It's like you said, it's about the money. I do think that there is something about that where it could be somebody chasing the money. We saw her in the first season sort of, making some money off of this. And then we've seen her this season making even more money off of this. These murders are profitable for her.
The gut milk lady theory discussion is coming.
It's coming.
I'm so excited. I
only theories in the building.
I'm really enjoying this season. I feel like there's a lot more we're gonna be talking about. Obviously, Jan shows up at the end of this episode. I'm really curious why Charles is there. Like, has he tried to just get a better understanding of the criminal mind? Like, does Jan know something more?
Yeah, I'm really not sure about that because I just don't know what she would know. She wasn't there to know anything. She's not really involved that much in the building, so I'm not really sure unless Charles really thinks that this murder is connected to Tim Kono.
That's just what makes it. That just gets me back to the are there too many guest stars? And I love Amy Ryan. Like, I loved her on The Office. I loved her on all these other things.
She's excellent.
It is just like, okay, do we really need her? But we'll see about that with this next episode. But go ahead, hit that subscribe button. You guys want some gut milk, right? Or at least a discussion about the gut milk lady. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. We will see you here next time.